Sam,
Louis, how are you, buddy?
Hi, I'm Lou Parrott. I'm the host of What Do You Think? I'm here with Newcastle Athletic Director, Newcastle Athletic Trainer, the third Sam, the original 26, the East Side Rams Ambassador, Samflora. Sam, welcome to the
Louis,
show.
nice to see you. Nice to be here, buddy.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.
Sam, you've been a fixture with Newcastle Athletics for a number of years. Can you please tell us how you got your
Lou,
start?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you how this went down. Probably 30 years I worked on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and I was in sort of like, and the job I had was, it was first aid and CPR and stuff like that. And in 1981, they needed a equipment manager. So I said, you know what, the kids were small, I said, I'm gonna take this job. I said, I need a few extra dollars, take them on vacation, whatever. So I guess that was the year, and 81 is the year that the teachers went on strike. So Ed Bender was the trainer. Ed Bender didn't cross the picket line. So that's where it started. I took the job. Lindy took me back, and I was there around 18 years.
18 years as athletic trainer?
19 years now. This is my 19th year as the athletic director.
Awesome.
Yes,
Great.
it's great.
Great. Sam, on the show, we like to do a nickname game.
Right.
And we tried to get this on the show last month.
Right.
But we didn't have a guest that was too cooperative, so he didn't make the cut, the edit.
Okay.
So
right.
I want to see if you
Bring it
want
on.
you want to
Bring it
play
on.
the nickname
Sure,
game today.
absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
I'm going to say the nickname, you'll say the person's name.
Right.
Gucci.
Lewis.
Monk.
Lorenza.
Ripper.
Humphrey.
Pudgy.
Tony.
Shingling.
Hines.
Anybody I forgot?
Oh yeah, there's some. We had a guy in the year I played 3 years with Lindy, 67, 68, 69. We had a kid named Johnny Capabianco. We called him Wicked.
Wicked.
And a kid named Philip, he's deceased now, Philip Twiggy Christopher. Yeah.
Awesome. And listen, if we missed any nicknames or there's any you can think of for the next show, please send me a message,
Sure.
Instagram or text.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Sam, we want our viewers to get to know you a little bit better.
Right.
And there's no other way than to do that is to ask you some questions.
Sure.
And these are short ones.
Sure.
All right? I think you can handle it.
Sure.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Ford or Chevy?
Chevy.
Pitt or Penn State?
Pitt. Unfortunately, Pitt. Yes.
You're Italian, right?
Yes.
I'm Italian.
Yes.
What would the show be if we didn't talk about food?
It wouldn't be a show.
Meatballs, Sam.
I like meatballs.
Fried or baked?
You know what? Earlier you asked me that. My mother used to make them fried. She's not around anymore. My wife bakes them, so I got to go with the bake for now. Nobody makes the fried no more.
Kavads or gnocchi?
Both.
Wedding soup or chicken pastina?
Woo. Mom was living, it would be the pastina. But I have to go with the wedding soup because my wife makes the wedding soup.
Now, I took some notes, and obviously my memory's failing me today, so I'm going to go to my notes. These are a couple of my favorites that I forgot, and I'm ashamed that I forgot them. Nike or Under Armour?
Nike.
You got an Under Armour shirt on?
It was given to me. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Camp Rents or Sherman Acres?
Camp Rents. You want to ask me why?
Give me a 30-second promo on Camp
30 seconds on Camp Rents. Okay. Rusty water. Terrible. The food was
Drinking water.
Drinking water was terrible. Tastes like rust. And trying to get a drink of water. And you know the story behind that with Lindy with the water. And it's just cold, damp, nice, but fun. You know what I'm saying? A lot of memories. Camp Rents.
What can you tell us about Sherman Acres?
Sherman Acres, I was the trainer. Sherman Acres was a little more modified, but not much. You ought to walk down a 300-mile hill to get back onto the top. But, just different. It was different era. So we can't, if it was up to Lindy, we'd be still at Camp Rents, but that didn't happen,
How about in 1984 when they had to bring the
Yeah,
water buffaloes in
exactly.
from the National
Yeah,
Guard?
we made them open that camp up. I'll never forget that. That was you were.
I was a trainer.
You're the trainer. Yeah, you were helping out. You were helping me out that year.
That's right.
I remember that.
No, I was actually an equipment manager.
Equipment manager. You were helping Skunjo.
And
Right.
what was
Chief.
the chief?
The chief. The chief was the best.
Do you remember the hat? The story about the hats, commander in chief and the chief.
Yep.
Tell us that story.
Well, you know what? I think, you know what? I can't remember that, Louis. I'll be honest with you about the hat with the chief on it. Did he have a hat that said chief?
Lindy had a hat that said commander on it.
Right. And they argued over that. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Right.
Carl Skunjo had a hat on that said
Chief.
commander in chief. And Lindy was mad
Yep,
because he thought he was outranked by the commander in chief.
Right.
Awesome. Now listen, we talked about Camp Rents. And at that time they had an excellent cooking staff.
Right.
Mrs. Adizano,
Right.
Mrs. Mazaka.
Rest.
And they used to make pasta fazool for lunch,
Right.
chicken noodle soup.
Right.
You have to tell the audience about the sandwiches they used to make.
For some reason, she used to cake butter on the sandwiches and made the sandwich taste so much better. So I know me, when I make a sandwich now, I put butter on it. Then I make the sandwich.
So you answered, butter or no butter?
Butter.
Great. Sam, I'd be remiss to have you on the show and not talk about this next gentleman, and you were so kind to provide a photo
Right.
of this gentleman, and I'll let you give the introduction for him.
Well, this is our dad, and that was his familiar pose, and that's why we got a close-up of it. And you played with him, 84,
Yes,
in 1984, and I think you were in 7th grade.
yes.
And what I can remember a lot about him, he was quite a guy, and I think you can vouch for that. But when he said something, you listened to him, right? He was just a genuine person. He never liked to yell at people. He told us, if you're yelling at somebody, make sure you know what you're yelling about, because they want an answer, these kids. And it was kids 10 to 13 years of age. He just was a guy that loved kids, and he loved the game of football. And he liked to teach it, you know.
Sam, that's an awesome picture. Great guy. I had the honor and privilege to play for him,
Right,
play for your brother Denny,
right.
Jerry Kirkwood, I think at the time,
Jerry
was our coach.
Jerry helped out, yes.
You helped out.
I
and,
think that year you guys won the championship, if I'm not
we
mistaken.
did. We
Do you
won.
remember who you played that year to win the
We
championship?
played North Hill Redskins.
North Hill and beat the championship,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Tony Miller was a quarterback.
That's right.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
Great. Thanks.
Okay.
Sam, this next subject, there's been many dissertations written about it by coaches in Western Pennsylvania. I think there's even a fan club that's associated with this subject,
Right.
and also a number of variations on how the subject was implemented and executed in the years of Newcastle football. And you were kind enough to share some history with us today with this photograph,
Yep.
and I'll let you make the introduction.
This was Lindy Laurel's bread and butter play, 28 power. And if you see that, and Louis and I discussed this earlier, that's probably the perfect photo for 28 power. I mean, you can't get it any closer to that of how it's photoed, and we can, like, if you want to take a couple minutes to, explain what everybody's doing, but that's the perfect 28 power photo.
Awesome.
Yeah, perfect. Lindy's bread and butter. Yep.
All right. Does that thing have wheels?
The wheels are in that.
All right, shut it off because we're going to go on the blackboard. We're here today. We're going to do a little skull session on 28 power, and we're going to have Sam draw the 1967 version.
67 version. Lindy's 67 version was, here was your center. Okay, here was your guard. There's your tackle. There's your tackle. And we call this a 6. This was a 6 end. So we'll put the 6 end here. He was 6. Here's your guard here. And this is your tight end, which the tight end on this side was a 5. and this was the center, like I said, and here was your QB was right here, and this was your left halfback, which I played, and your fullback, and your right halfback. Lindy's numbering system, excuse me, was 1-2, quarterback 1-2, left halfback 3, fullback 4. 4 was your right halfback. So basically, what he did when he had a really good team that year. So what he did was he'd block the tight end would go this way.
Yeah, you're blocking
Oh, I'm
everything
sorry.
with your head. You're going
Okay.
to have to.
This good?
Yeah,
This way?
I mean, everything you wrote, your head was. I thought you were going to move away.
Okay.
Go ahead, no, take it right from there.
Take it from here?
Yeah.
Okay, so in this, in the 67 era, or that era right here, this was a WPIL championship team, by the way. So they went to and played Mount Lebanon and beat them. So anyway, this is how he ran it in that era. This guard would come through. This was a 2, this was the 4, this was the 6. These were holes. This was the 8, and this was 0 around the end. Well, here was your 8. This was your 8 hole. So he pulled the guard. Louis, am I mistake? Not mistaken?
You're right there.
Right there, and everybody blocked. Only went the other way, right?
This guy pulled,
Yeah, this guy came.
He pulled.
Came too. So everybody else blocked back.
that's right.
And everybody blocked back this way. And if I'm not mistaken, the fullback took 2 steps. He went this way, and I, as the left halfback, took 1, 2, 3, and we rode on the coattail of the fullback. And that was Lindy's bread and butter play, 28 power. That was that era.
85 through 89,
Right.
well, 84 through 89, my familiarity with it is we'd have the center here, we'd have a guard, a tight end, we'd have the right guard, tackle, and we would have another tight end, and then the slot.
Right.
And then the 2 backs.
Now, he would just take the 6 out. He'd take that 6 guy and put a tight end in. Right.
And the tight end would come down, go up. The left guard would pull.
Right.
The right guard would pull, trap out. Tackle would block down, tight end block down. Sometimes there'd be a double team here in this hole.
Right.
The fullback would come, and then the halfback. Now, we'll probably get a number of detractors on the way that we drew this play, and most likely Perry Biondi. Some of the versions that he comes up with with 28 power go unmodified. So
Now, if you remember, in your era, even back in the day, he'd go to the left formation.
that's right, unbalanced left.
He'd go unbalanced left. This is, to your viewers out there, this was old-time football. This was called unbalanced right.
That's
That
right.
was Lindy Laurel's unbalanced right.
And there was a junior varsity game, and it may have been Upper St. Clair or Mount Lebanon, and Tony Sukovich was the head coach of the
Right.
junior varsity that
Right.
year, and they ran 2 plays the whole first half of the game. They ran unbalanced right, 28 power, and unbalanced left,
Yeah.
28 power.
Right.
And I'd like to get some of those guys on the show that
Sure.
played in
That
that
would be
game
a great, that would
to
be a
tell
great
that
segment.
story.
That'd be a great show for you, yeah.
So that's 84 through, wow,
87.
it would be 89. Those are the years I played.
Yeah, and it was basically the same. Sometimes we weren't thinking, sometimes he would go pro right and just throw you off a little bit and get this guy out of here and put him on that side, just to throw everything out of whack.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you got it.
All right, go.
Sam, probably one of the
I know it was Leonard Matarazzo,
one of the most
Senator
important
Corncracker.
one of the most
Yeah.
important nicknames
The best one
we
of all.
missed. Senator Corncracker.
The jack of all trades. I was Len Matarazzo.
Leonard was involved with Newcastle
A
Athletics
long time.
since I was a kid, and he was one of the reasons that I became an equipment manager.
Right.
He and my father were good friends. Leonard picked me up one morning and took me to Taggart Stadium and exposed me to Newcastle football. And with that experience, I got to meet a lot of great people, Lindy, Carl Scungio, Randy,
Right.
yourself, and I've known you for the better half of my life,
Sure
and I
did.
really
It's a
appreciate
pleasure.
you coming
It's a
on the
pleasure.
show.
It's a pleasure,
And I
buddy.
thank you, Sam.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Samflora, Athletic Director, Newcastle High School, Athletic Trainer, the original 26, the third Sam, the East Side Ram Ambassador. Thanks for being on the
Thanks,
show.
Louis. Thanks, buddy. Thanks.